People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone.
And we're back, guys. Welcome again to another episode of the Three Dudes of Horror. I'm Wormboy.
I'm Toots.
Damien.
Today we'll be reviewing The Strangers. Me and Toots had just saw it. Damien's seen it several times before. Well, actually, I've seen it before, but we'll be reviewing that movie today.
I've seen bits and pieces beforehand, but I never saw it entirely.
Yeah, today I think I've seen it before as well, but I think I fell asleep because I was really tired that day. From what I remember, I saw it with Damien's wife, but overall, basically, it's a story where a couple, they're supposed to get. He asks her out to marry him, and she, pretty much blows him off. So what happens is he had this whole plan for her, and they still end up staying at this, I guess, cabin or house.
It's a
summer house.
Yeah, it was a summer house.
So they
in the middle of nowhere.
They end up staying in the middle of nowhere in this house, and then all of a sudden they hear these strange noises, and people, certain three individuals end up,
three stalkers
messing with them, and they terrorize them.
Yeah.
I like the jump scares a lot because they did scare me. I mean, I don't like to admit it on live TV or live radio.
Live TV.
Sorry, but
You're still scared from the jump scares.
Some of them did scare me. I was like, oh shit! But
you did scream pretty loudly.
They actually did scare me. I'm not joking. But overall, with the jump scares, the one that scared me the most was the one at the end because I thought she was already dead, but she screamed, so I was like,
spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, spoilers. So sorry about that, guys. I forgot to say that.
I'm sure we'll put it on the title.
This movie's almost 10 years old, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought it was 2011.
So if you haven't seen it by now, anyway, we're gonna have spoilers. so we'll make it official. There's gonna be spoilers in this review.
So the jump scares.
Yeah, I admit it again. Yes, they got to me. They did good on them. I mean, and I'm one that's like, oh, jump scares,
Well, but it's like we've said before. They weren't it wasn't like their friend jumping into the frame or something. It wasn't like a false scare.
No, they were all real.
It was something you were, for the most part, in this movie. There were things that you're supposed to be afraid of. That it would be wise to be afraid of.
Yeah, I think the only one jump scare I remember that was kind of like a false jump scare, but I can totally understand why they did that.
Which one? Was
when Scott Speedman was coming back to the house. It was a little bit a little after the beginning, after the whole shit.
When he went for the cigarettes.
Yeah, and then. Or it was around that part, and then he was coming back, I think, from the car after it was completely demolished.
Yeah.
And Liv Tyler was still waiting for him. So, and of course, he probably forgot that, and he comes in, and she's right there. And,
yeah.
But I mean, I can understand that because
she was waiting for him.
Yeah, if you're preoccupied with your damaged vehicle,
But the way they set that one up. It's something that could conceivably happen in the real world.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
It's not like somebody jumping into the frame all of a sudden, hey, like a stupid jump scare.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a legitimate jump scare because that could happen in real life and
I think they didn't overdo it with them. I think they had just enough to because some movies they do jump scares a lot and it gets kind of tiring. But this one didn't have too much where it was like, oh, okay, they overdid it, and you kind of predict them. I couldn't predict these. That's why they scared me so much.
Yeah, and the one thing I liked about it was the suspense, especially when you see, potato sack face or scarecrow or whatever you want to call it.
Potato sack face.
Come in and look around, and
I think at one point I called him Potato Head.
Yeah, you were calling him Potato Head, and so you're just waiting to see what happens. And Liv Tyler's stuck in a closet or you know, in a small area, and so it's like, okay, he may know that she's in there. He's probably just messing with her right now, and it turns out another of the stalkers actually like comes and tries to get her.
Yeah, I think he did know that she was in the closet, but he went to go, hey, she's in the closet, like scare her. I'm gonna pretend I'm leaving, you know.
Yeah, but I think what I really like about this movie is the fact that this scenario, the premise of this movie is realistic. That it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
And
maybe
that's what makes it scary.
Yeah, and maybe not, you know, in real life, maybe not as theatrical, like in terms of like messing with their head, but still, anybody can come into your house and kill you for no reason, rob you, then kill you, rape you.
Like there's no supernatural elements at all in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that also makes the scares more, you know, more impactful is the fact that there's no release from the tension in this movie. This movie is tense from start to finish. There's no comic relief, and the whole movie, like what you said, we're more like you're waiting for something to happen because they never release you from the tension in the movie. Like anything could happen at any moment.
Yeah, because
there's
those movies where they're like, oh, and here's a happy scene just to, you know.
And there's none of that.
There's none of that.
Yeah, there's no high tension scene and someone cuts a fart and like, oh, okay, well that releases the tension, you know.
Yeah.
Or some comedic.
And you already feel the movie's really simple. Like it's really simple, but the way it's set up is really well because you have sympathy for the main characters because they're already in this really intense moment because the boyfriend had set up the house, like he had set up the roses and the wine and they have to return to that setting after she just said no to his proposal.
Yeah.
So it's already, you know, they're already under a lot of stress.
And then for those things to happen, I was like, fuck, like we didn't ask for this, and they get shit on again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
but it made me think of something that my wife said about that a lot of predators, whatever kind of predators, sexual predator, you know, that they prey on people that are, you know, mentally or emotionally weak. And not that these stalkers in this movie went after them because of that. What made these stalkers scary was the fact that they had no motive other than they were just psychopaths that wanted to kill someone.
Yeah, to me it was like they're just having fun. Like they're hunting to me.
But even prior to their arrival in the movie or at their house, at the main character's house, they're already emotionally, you know, stressed out because of the situation they're in. So
it makes it even worse, I think, you know, for when they start seeing those 3 stalkers, like.
Yeah, and another thing I like about the movie is the fact that it is inspired by true events, not necessarily based on a true story per se, but just based on, you know, like the Manson family murders and, you know, just or as what the director said, you know, just home invasions and whatnot that would happen when he was a child in his neighborhood. So like I said, it really can happen. And
according to Damon's wife, she said, what, 7 minutes? Every 7 minutes?
Every 7 minutes.
There's a home invasion.
Interesting statistic.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
but
keep
the one
your doors locked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't go to a summer home in the middle of nowhere or a cabin in the woods.
Well, see, that was part of what set up the vulnerability, was the fact that they were in a summer home where they didn't have, you know, a landline phone, they didn't have internet access, they, you know, they're down to their cell phones on dying batteries as like their only lifeline.
And you know what? Maybe that's why the killers went there.
No, I think that is one of the reasons.
Because they're like, oh, there's no service here. Like no one's gonna help them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably the main reason that they went.
Yeah.
Like they weren't there to rob them. They weren't there. It wasn't personal. It was just like they wanted easy targets that they could toy with, and
yeah. But I think this movie also, and I brought this up earlier, was that before the podcast, is that this movie may lead to certain arguments in terms of well, what would you do in that situation, you know? And because it's a third person point of view where you could see what's going on that the main characters don't, you're like, oh, you know, like when he shoots the friend in the face with a shotgun, and you're like, oh, you fucking idiot, you know?
Well, he didn't know it was him.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. It's like, you don't know. Like, if you were in that situation, how would you handle it? Not shoot? You didn't know he was coming.
But you didn't think he was coming there? Because remember when he called him, he's like, I'm going to show up in the morning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't morning. It was like, what,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he showed up earlier. Yeah.
So he wasn't seeing her, and then I think that's what set him up to be even more emotionally damaged, because he already was.
Yeah, and
so I mean, I couldn't only imagine shooting my own friend. I'd be like, that's it. Yeah, I'll probably go crazy.
And the thing is, and I understand, you know, accidentally shooting somebody, you know, but it's like, well, how would you handle it afterwards? Would you go back and hold the shotgun and kind of, you know, like focus on what's happening now and just deal with that later? Or you're just gonna get completely messed up and deal with it now, and you know, and in essence, kind of become vulnerable again.
Yeah.
You know, and if the friend was in the house and he realized something was wrong, you know, why didn't he say, hello, is anybody here?
He did say that.
I don't remember him saying that, though.
Yeah, he did. He said hello. And then the thing that I didn't like that he didn't do, I was like, turn off the music. Like, come on.
Yeah.
How can you hear, you know?
Yeah, turn off the music, or like, you know.
But he did say hello when he's going up the stairs.
Yeah, I don't remember him saying that, though. Yeah. Like, or at least would have been like, James, Kristen, hello, like, you know, where are you? You know, are you all right? Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, what would you do in that situation? You know, if you're hiding, you know, would you try to get, you know, a weapon? Would you just run away? You know,
it really depends, because I mean, people can I think, like, you know, maybe they know how to fight, how to defend themselves, like are in martial arts, but sometimes they'll be like, they'll still be scared and be like, no, I'm just gonna leave, you know.
But I liked about this movie though, that it was realistic though, like the fact that like they didn't know how to even load the rifle.
Shotgun.
Yeah, the shotgun.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were talking about that is appealing to the movie. It's like these are realistic reactions.
Yeah.
You know, these are realistic reactions. You know, but at the same time, you're also kind of thinking, it's like, okay, would I do that based on what they've seen? You know, or would I just flat out run away? Would I?
Well, we can do an experiment on you too, and see what you do.
Yeah. You know, so it's just things like that I was just like, you know, maybe I would have done this, or maybe they should have done this. You know, but I think overall, and what you mentioned, Warm Boy, was that I think there could have been at least a moment or two where they could have actually fought back a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent of like Steven Seagal or, you know, you know, or somehow managed to
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, managed to figure out how to fight or whatever. If they don't know,
if they would show up and be like Jackie Chan or Steven Seagal, be like, why the fuck didn't you use that earlier?
Yeah,
you could have ended the movie. No, but for real, I think what they needed at least one or two. Like, okay, they got him in the leg and they ran away, you know, and that would have been good.
Yeah, at least make it seem like, oh, I think they may get away, and then they get stopped. Like,
yeah.
You know, or they get knocked out, or they get tied up.
Yeah. But one of the things I didn't really like from this movie is there wasn't too much music. I mean,
but I think that added to the realism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the music that they do have is on the record player.
Yeah, they do.
So it's like it's explained. Like there's a record player there playing that.
Yeah, and really the only music they had was just mainly the musical stings whenever there was a jump scare.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the songs from the record player. But other than that, you know, it didn't bother me that there was no other musical score to it. Yeah. And another thing that you mentioned, Damien, was also the fact that you do see, you know, the point of view from the victims whenever you see the the stalker show up.
Like adding to the realism of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how I think mostly all the movies shot in like handheld, so it's a little bit shaky cam, but the shaky cam would get more dramatic like in the intense scenes. And then the way that the house was lit too, it also looked real. Like if you just got caught off guard, like all of a sudden you're under siege, there's all these strangers around your house, like, so you're not gonna think, well, let me go turn on all the lights so that the house is properly lit. Like in some scenes it's lit well, in some scenes it's dark, and the director like kept it that way, like to add to the realism.
Yeah, and but one thing I was thinking of when Liv Tyler's character, when Kristen was going to the barn, because
to find the radio.
To find the radio, was like, it's a barn. You know, usually there's gardening tools, there's farming equipment, there's something that usually can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, but I think she was more concerned with first getting someone to hear.
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm here, like at this place, like help us.
But I think, like what you were saying earlier, that this isn't the first time that these stalkers have done this. So they've kind of like mastered the art of, you know, flanking the victims and like getting one of them gets the victim's attention while the other one sneaks up on them, like
yeah,
which they do to Scott Speedman. The girl's wandering around in the barn and gets his attention.
Yeah.
And then the guy, the potato sack guy.
Yeah. Potato head, yeah.
Comes up behind him, and that's how they get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they could have easily killed him way early in the movie.
Yeah,
they were just toying with them.
That's the point. Like they were, it wouldn't have been enjoyable if they didn't, like, they're psychopaths. Like they make a night of it.
Yeah.
Like they stalk them and terrorize them to the point where they're just like completely petrified.
Well,
and then they kill them.
I'm not sure if I completely agree that they're psychopaths, but I mean, I think, you know, possibly, yeah. But also, I also think maybe they were just brainwashed by someone.
Well, that goes into what we were saying earlier, that there's different theories about the stalkers.
Yeah, and
like why are they doing it?
Or there were part of this cult that they needed to kill a certain amount of people to enter the cult. I don't know.
Yeah,
because the movie never gives you a clear motivation for why they're doing what they do. Like Liv Tyler asks them in the big moment, like in the trailers and everything, like, why are you doing it? And then the girl just says, because you were home.
Yeah, pretty basic answer, and that's the only one that speaks, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the other person, I don't know if they were all girls, because I couldn't really tell.
Well, the one with the brunette with the doll face, like she speaks, but just to the one of the boys that was coming up the drive.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because I had a theory also that they could be patients that escaped a psych ward.
That's true.
Yeah.
And because it made me think of that movie Devil Times 5.
I haven't seen it.
It's an old movie, like from the 70s. It has Leif Garrett in it.
No, I'm trying. I don't
know. There's mental patients on a bus, but they're like young kids, like teenagers, and the bus crashes on the way to wherever it's going, and they escape, and they wander to like a small town around where they crash, and they like terrorize the town, and it made me think of that, like maybe.
I mean, that's who they are, right? It's possible. I mean, because they don't really explain it.
But to me, that's what makes it more terrifying.
Because you just don't know.
You have no idea why they're doing it.
Like I was speculating that they were probably brainwashed because, as I mentioned before, one of the inspirations for this movie was the Manson family murders. You know, and the Manson family members were brainwashed by Charles Manson
that we know of.
Yeah, that would. I mean, well.
But then you ask. That just leads to more mystique because it leads you to wonder who brainwashed them and why.
Yeah,
you still have no answer for why they're doing it.
Yeah, and you can say, well, it could have been Potato Head that brainwashed the other two.
It seemed like he was, or the one that was with the sack and I think he was like
Potato
Head. Yeah,
we're calling him Potato Head.
he was. I think he looked more like or she looked more like the leader to me. I don't know the way that it was portrayed.
Yeah,
well, to me, it seemed like they were just a real tight unit. They all worked together.
Yeah.
Or who knows? Maybe if they make a part 2, maybe it is a bigger cult, and maybe it may show the leader.
Yeah.
You know.
But to me, I don't think that they should do that because
they're gonna mess it up.
It'll chip away at all the mystique, and then it won't be as good anymore.
They're gonna lose money.
Yeah, then it's gonna be like, well, yeah, it's gonna be one of those instances where it's like, well, I like this one because it was very mysterious. Okay, let's try to explain everything.
Like a prequel.
Yeah, like a prequel.
And that usually never works.
Yeah,
because that's what makes it good, the mystique. Like, you don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah, and throughout the whole movie, I was like, why are they doing this? Like, in my head, like, why are they doing this? Like, till the end, I was like, oh, they're just crazy.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, like, what I was saying about, like, the technical aspects. Like, the majority of the film after they show up is, like, almost exclusively, like, you're seeing the stalkers from the point of view of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it feel more like you're in that situation with them. You're under siege in the house. Like, it would have taken away from the mystique, I think, from the stalkers, even if just the little small thing of showing more perspective from them. Yeah. Like, there is a few moments where they show the perspective from them, but even then, it's not 100% clear that that's what is supposed to be being conveyed there. Like, I think there was like one scene that I saw where, well, it's where the friend Mike shows up, the one that gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
And he's slowly walking up to the house, and it's like a panning shot. The camera's like following him from out in the trees, and you're wondering, like, is that one of the stalkers, like walking with him, watching him from the trees?
Yeah.
Like, but they don't show the stalker, so you don't know if that's what's going on.
Yeah, and I also did like the moment where you see Mike. Well, I mean, I've seen him as Dennis, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, like,
that was him?
Yeah, that was him. That's Dennis.
I didn't even know that.
And he was walking up, and you see one of the you see Potato Head with an axe behind him. Yeah, and you don't know whether, like, oh shit, he's gonna get him right now, or is he gonna get shot? What's gonna happen? I mean, yeah, he got shot in the face, and yeah. But it was one of those little moments where I'm just like, oh shit. Like,
see, and then a lot of like cheap slasher movies, that scene, the director probably would have shot it from the perspective of the killer.
Mm-hmm.
You would have seen the axe come up, and it would have been behind Mike's back. And then in this movie, they flip it around. You see the killer right there in the frame, creeping up behind him.
Yeah, well, he did kind of do that momentarily in that scene.
And then
because you do see Mike kind of stop and like almost turn around.
Like he said something.
Yeah, and I was expecting him to turn around completely, and like the axe just boom right in his face.
Because you're expecting that cliche, and it doesn't happen in this movie.
Yeah. But then he turns back around and he continues walking, you know. And
well, the biggest one was when Scott Speedman was out in the car because he's looking for his phone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his phone.
And then you see the hand come up from behind him.
And while I was watching the movie, Damon's wife put her hand on my shoulder. And yes, I admit it, I freaked out and I screamed.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny.
But yeah, that's a scene where he eventually finds it inside, right? The phone.
Yeah.
But that's the scene that almost you're pretty much for sure. Okay, that was shot from the perspective of the.
But here's the thing, though, because it looked like the phone was still on. Like it looked like it still had battery. But did he even call the cops or anything like that? Because cops never showed up
when he found his phone.
When it was like on the piano or on the table.
No, whatever. The battery was taken out.
Yeah.
Remember those phones? You don't remember the flip phones?
Oh yeah, I remember.
They had taken the battery out, and then they threw. First they.
The other one went into the fire.
When they're playing with Liv Tyler, when they're just toying with her when she's still home alone, first they just take her phone off the charger, and then later on when Scott Speedman's home, you see it, like, when they're searching the house, you see it in the fireplace.
Yeah, because at one point Scott Speedman was like, well, yeah, we'll just wait for the cops or whatever, and I'm like, well, did you call them? Yeah, like, Was there?
Yeah, they didn't really explain that.
Yeah. It's like,
I think he just.
You know they're gonna show up?
I think he just expected for them to show up. Like, well, how?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how?
Yeah, they shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And that adds to the intensity of, like, that puts you in, like, a realistic moment with them. Like, you start panicking, you start just saying things that don't really make sense.
And I think the way they died at the end, I was like, damn, that sucks.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I was like, just shoot him in the head or something, like, and that's it. But no, to me, they suffered a lot. Well, Liv doesn't. I think she didn't die because she screamed, right?
Yeah. It's kind of left. You don't.
But
know,
then she could still die later.
She could still die from her wounds. Yeah.
I don't know.
They don't let you know. That's. I think that at the very end. I think that's the creepiest jump scare for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she just wakes up at the end and
I'm
screams.
sure that boy that encountered her is traumatized for life.
Trauma for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably still in therapy. Yeah.
And then, well, I was gonna say, as far as like, because we mentioned like horror movie cliches, the part at the very beginning of the stalker's appearance in the movie, when the first girl knocks on the door, and they open the door, and that's the only part that's like kind of cliche, where it's dark on the porch, and he tries to turn on the light.
It doesn't work.
And it doesn't work, but see the thing is, and then it's like, oh, that's like a horror movie cliche, you just see the silhouette and you can kind of see her face, but then they explain it because she unscrewed the light bulb, because after she leaves, Scott Speedman screws it in, and then and it does work, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, well they were smart enough to explain it.
Yeah, I do like the fact that you really don't see their faces, or they're obscured in a certain way.
Yeah, it adds to the mystery.
And I'm glad they didn't show them at the end. Because when they took off their masks, I was like, oh, they're finally going to show them. But they didn't show it completely. So I was still like, oh, yes, thank you. Because if they would have showed their face, I think that would have like really messed up the movie for me.
Yeah, and it could also be the statement of those stalkers could be anybody.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the point.
Or unless they take off the mask and it's actually them doing it on themselves.
I think that's the point, though. That they could, like, that's what makes it creepy. Like, the director was trying to convey that, like, you've probably walked right past these people, like at the supermarket or at the bank or something,
Yeah.
Like DTA, Damien DTA.
Like, they're out there.
Yeah, don't trust anybody.
It's my motto.
From Stone Cold. Yeah.
Yeah. Props goes out to Stone Cold, the Stone Cold podcast.
They're teaching us not to trust anybody.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's what adds to the atmosphere of the movie. Like, you're never given a break. Like, and you're never given any hints. Like, the stalkers, killers / whatever. Like, they're always kept completely mysterious in the movie. Like,
I'm so glad they didn't play that cliche where you see, maybe at the beginning, like during like the wedding reception or whatever, you see them possibly potato sack head.
Yeah.
Like
we don't know
mask
that.
or anything, and then like you see them later, like take off the mask towards the end. And, it's him.
You don't know. It could have been someone from the wedding because they were wearing suits.
Yeah.
Well, he was wearing a suit, right?
Yeah, he was wearing a suit.
But that's the point.
That looked cool though. Like, hey, I'm wearing a suit.
It could be anybody.
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the point of it. Like it could be anybody. I'm just glad they didn't make that cliche of, like Liv Tyler's face, like, oh, it's you.
But that's what impressed me about the movie. Like, they stayed away from many horror movie cliches, and they still made a damn good horror movie.
Yeah, and I heard it made 27 million when it came out.
No, I think it made like 80-something million.
Oh,
on a $9 million budget.
Damn, so that's really good.
Brian Berdino. I had never heard of that director prior to this movie. I don't know if he's done any other horror movies.
I don't know either. I think overall for me, the movie, I give it a solid C. I mean, I would give it a higher score, but it just, to me, it lacked more character building. And maybe a B. Yeah. Maybe a B.
Yeah,
I give it a B now. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's not a bad movie. I would watch it again. And I recommend anybody hearing the podcast to watch it as well.
I give it like a C+ to a B-. You know, where like it does have very creepy moments. It does have a lot of tension. You know, but like I said, there are those moments here and there where you're like, I would have done this, I would have done that. Well, how do you know? I was never in that situation. You know?
Yeah, you can't really compare.
Yeah, you can't really compare.
You can't. You just gotta. You know, it's a movie.
You can just speculate.
Yeah,
you can speculate all you want, but
yeah, but I do agree with you that it probably could have used a little more character development.
Yeah, just a little bit more, not too much, you know.
Yeah, I mean they do explain what happened prior, you know, but other than that, we really don't know much else about the characters.
No, all we know is that she said no, and
and he was heartbroken.
He was heartbroken and embarrassed, and then he goes for cigarettes, and boom, shit happens.
Yeah.
Well, I do like the fact that there is almost no character development for the stalkers. I think that was a smart move.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like with the stalkers, that's different. Too. Yeah.
I would give it like to me it's good enough to get like a B to a B plus. It's not a movie that like I yearn to watch all the time, but it is a good horror movie.
It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with what the director did with this movie and the acting also. Like,
yeah.
But I do agree, like what you guys were saying earlier, that if not for the subtitles, most of the movie you can't understand what Liv Tyler's saying.
Yeah, that's one thing that really bugged me.
Because her voice is so soft in the movie.
And like it's not only I understand when it's soft when she's scared, but it's before all these things start happening. She's still very like, I guess delicate. I don't know. She's just talking really slow or really soft, and it's like, what are you saying? But
that might have been one of the cliches they played on, was like the damsel in distress.
Yeah, like I need help. Like,
but I mean, they're both pretty much hopeless. Like,
did it remind you of you and your wife, Damien? Because you know. Never mind.
You think stalkers are gonna go?
So. Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna edit this part out later.
Yeah, guys, that just came out
because I don't know what.
Over here, we're at 3 a.m. so it's late. So, and it's fucking cold over here. So.
But yeah, I would recommend it for sure. Like, if you want a movie to actually scare you and not just like a fun horror movie, I would recommend this one. Very intense from start to finish. There's no break in the tension. Like,
yeah, I would recommend this movie, especially for, you know, like a Halloween party where people actually sit down and actually watch it.
Yeah,
because there are other horror movies that you could just have in the background and
traditional ones.
It. Yeah, you know, but this one I would say it's one of those where you have a group and you actually sit down, eat popcorn, and you just watch it in the dark.
You know, before we finish, you know what would be really messed up? If somebody forces you to watch this movie while they're wearing the same 3 stalkers are wearing it, but you're tied up and they're like, look, you're gonna watch the movie.
The costumes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say
they don't have to trash the house. All they have to do is ask.
No, you know what I was gonna say? This is a movie that will actually freak you out if you actually watch it out at a cabin in the woods.
Yeah,
like Secret Window or one of those types of movies.
Yeah, so
this will actually creep you out if you watch it out at a cabin in the woods.
Make sure you have a lot of toilet paper
and firearms.
Yeah, and firearms
and that you know how to operate them.
Yeah,
and food.
Don't shoot your friend in the face.
And one thing I didn't see, did they ever eat? No, right? Or ever pee or poop?
Maybe themselves at the end.
They never went to the goddamn restroom. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Were they peeing or pooping? Because I would have been shitting myself, you know?
It's a kind of magic. It's movie magic.
And as I was saying...
No, if it's going to be real...
and as I was saying, there's no release from the tension in this movie, but Wormboy just released the tension in the podcast.
It's true. I just saw that hole.
I was like, comic relief right there.
I didn't mean to do it.
No, that was great.
But no, it's just go watch the movie, guys. It's good.
Now there's no more tension anymore.
Yeah, release the tension afterwards.
Now there's no tension anymore. Like, now we're just having a great time. Thanks,
the Kraken's been released. Well,
no, it's because you said it like really seriously, or really serious, like you weren't.
Well, I am being serious. I wasn't joking.
So if you're ever in that situation, you shit yourself and then like go release the tension.
Yeah, I'm like, where the fuck are they eating? At least show them to eat like a snack or something.
Worm boy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, I get it, but it's I'm just laughing because you actually said it like, you know what I didn't get? Did they ever peer?
And all she
You
wanted,
said it like really serious.
and then all she wanted was a fucking pack of cigarettes. Like that's all you want? Like you don't want a drink or some Cheetos or something? Joe, no, I just want cigarettes. Okay, that's why I'm gonna go half a mile away from here. And
you need to go to the bathroom, honey? Well, maybe later.
I know, like, but strangers can wait, Oh, she's in the restaurant. Hold on, guys.
Oh man, that was great.
No, but
that was great.
Go watch the movie, guys. It's a good movie.
Did the stalkers have to pee or poop while?
Oh, they were outside, so I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they pissed at some point.
Yeah,
outside.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, for the record, this movie takes absolutely no time to address the need for biological functions.
Yeah, that's where they messed up.
Thank you for bringing that up, Worm Boy.
Well,
we'll contact the director and let him know that
he's gonna be like, oh.
I'm sure hey, who knows? Maybe the kid at the end shit himself after Liv Tyler woke up and screamed in his face.
We're never gonna know because they fucking ended the movie.
You sound so disappointed.
Well, they ended the goddamn movie when she screams and he's like,
I want to know if anybody peed or pooped in this movie.
Shut up, David.
Yeah, tell us in the comments.
All right, guys, just watch the movie when you get a chance. If you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, just send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. We still have. Yeah. We're getting a lot of followers on Twitter, so follow us there. YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube.
3 Dudes of Horror. I'm Wormboy.
I'm Toots.
And Damien.
We'll see you all next time.
All right. See you.